Most people think their landscape problems come from pests, watering, or bad luck. But that's not the real issue. The truth is there's something happening beneath the surface that's quietly causing all of your problems. Landscape professionals rarely talk about it because it's not a quick fix and they really just don't want to deal with it. But once you understand this, your garden will thrive and thank you. Here's the part that most people miss. The real damage isn't always visible right away. By the time you notice that something is wrong, it's usually been building for quite a while. So the number one mistake that most landscape professionals don't mention or tell you about or even explore is poor soil health. There's lots of ways that you realize your soil is bad. Maybe it drains terribly, or your neighbors tell you it's terrible. You're in a construction zone that was just completed, and so it's rock hard because of compaction. Or you already have plants and they're not performing properly. I'd blame it on the soil. There really are three identifiers of poor soil health, three things that could be wrong. They could be wrong all at once, or one or two of them could be wrong. Absent or low organic matter. This is very common. Most soils in urban and suburban developments are low in organic matter, and that's a big deal. And there is an easy test for that, but I don't always test it, but I always address it because it's almost always a factor. Nutrient and pH imbalance, which is kind of the standard way of identifying problems with soils. And if you do just normal soil tests, that's what they test. You know, how much nitrogen, how much phosphorus, how much potassium, how much boron, what's your pH, what's your salt levels. And it's common for something to be wrong there. And the third is poor soil texture and quality, and this is what we get a lot of emails about, where someone says, I have clay soil, I can't even put a shovel in it, it's rock hard, or I have sandy soil, it doesn't hold nutrients. We'll get into how you address all of these as we move along. You might think you're doing everything right, but some of the most common practices are actually making things worse for your soil and the health of your plants. There's a lot of reasons why soil becomes degraded. Probably the most common is the use of chemicals on it. Something as simple as pre-emergent herbicides, which sometimes are necessary, but they're not good for your soil. People that use any kind of weed killer, you might view it as necessary, but not good for your soil. And the same can be said for overuse of chemical fertilizer. Chemical fertilizer by itself in exactly the labeled amount won't damage soil life, but it doesn't build soil life. What we're concerned about in the soil is microbiological life, so beneficial bacteria and fungi and good protozoa and good nematodes. Those are damaged by almost every chemical you use. Now, what can cause damage besides chemicals? Just municipal water systems, have chemicals in them, like chlorine and such. They're not soil sterilants, but they do, over time, damage soil life. Another pretty surprising thing that can damage soil is constantly working it. So some people that love to till their soil once a month or something, that does damage soil life. The healthier your system is, the less you have to worry about this. But most people attack this issue completely backwards. Let me explain. We're waiting for a pest to emerge, and then we're spraying it with something that damages the soil, and then the soil gets so weak and bad that you continue to get those pests over and over, and you continue to spray more and more. And so we have a regimen of chemical warfare. We're killing everything that we don't want, and we don't have a mechanism, a natural mechanism, to prevent everything we don't want. And that natural mechanism rests right there under our feet. One of the powerful ways is when you have an active, healthy soil food web, many of the microbes in the soil will eat the pests that are about to emerge. And so even before they become a problem, they're handled by all of the beneficial microbiology in the soil. Another factor is that most pests lack a liver and can't digest high concentrations of amino acids, which very healthy plants have high concentrations of amino acids. This is one way the plant is made to be an unattractive nutrient source by healthy soil. So pests and diseases are problems in our soils because our soils aren't healthy enough. If you find this information helpful, please hit subscribe, because if your plants could talk, I'm sure they would be asking for help right now. If you've ever watered your yard and thought, why is this still not working? There's a hidden reason, and it has nothing to do with how much water you're using. This is one of the areas that really aided in the development of our product line. I would get calls saying, everything's great, things are growing, but this one part of our yard, the lawn's not doing well, or the azaleas aren't doing well, or something's not doing well because it has poor drainage. Before learning more thoroughly about soil life, you're kind of at a loss of what to do. So I started to explore the possibility of trying to change everything about the soil by changing life in the soil, by improving life in the soil. And so that's what I would do. I would then go out to that project and use products that change the microbiology in that area and try to impact the drainage of the soil. Poor water retention, soggy soil that doesn't drain, soil that drains too well because it's sandy. They're all related to the health of the soil and life in the soil. And the way you impact all of those by infusing the soil with beneficial life. The good news, fixing your soil doesn't have to be complicated at all. In fact, most people dread it and overthink it. But in reality, it's much simpler than constantly applying chemicals. One of the best ways, I think, is frequently overlooked if you have a lawn, and that's to mow it with a mulching mower. A mulching mower is kind of like constantly putting on compost, and that's extremely healthy for your lawn. Along that same way of thinking, I'm going to try this at my new house and buy a little electric leaf shredder. You shred your leaves, and when you shred your leaves, it turns them into a form that you can actually use as a mulch, and it's not real objectionable looking, and it's tremendously powerful in terms of improving the soil. Obviously, the most well-known way of improving your soil is with compost, and some people compost tea. Both of those can be a lot of work, usually requires big piles, which is why we came up with our whole range of products. The idea is concentrated compost and small bags so that you can do that easily once or twice a year. Other products that work real well are like earthworm castings, very effective at building life in the soil. You can use them as a top dressing. If you want to get the best products possible for your garden and get rid of these problems once and for all in ways your landscape professional won't tell you, scan the QR code on the screen to get our free soil health guide, or click the link in the description. The last important thing to know is how to effectively and sustainably feed your plants and trees. Once you understand this, it changes how you look at feeding your plants forever and saves you a ton of money, time, and headache. So the healthiest way to feed everything in your garden, your lawn, your plants, your trees, your flowers, is through the soil, not just by chemically feeding the plants. It is possible to feed your soil so effectively that your soil can produce its own macronutrients. So in other words, its own nitrogen, its own phosphorus and potassium, its own micronutrients. That's really what this is all about. We're trying to build soil that can be self-sustaining. And the whole key to soil that's self-sustaining is soil full of complex life of all types. If you want to take this even further, the next step is knowing exactly what to do, season by season, to actually get results. Watch this next video where we break down the only 7 tips you need for a beautiful garden this spring and how to do them the right way.